The Let Me Be Frank podcast is proudly sponsored by Glenwood. Glenwood are the UK's leading construction industry debt recovery agency.
Remember, no win, no fee with Glenwood Debt Recovery.
Find out more at glenwoodconstruction.co.uk. Welcome back. It is another episode of the Let Me Be Frank podcast with myself, Simon Houston, the man himself, Frank McAvennie.
Hiya.
And we've got another brilliant guest today, which we will tell you about in a wee second. But first of all, how you doing, mate?
You
good?
All right? Very good.
Things have been looking great in the last few weeks. There, some of the numbers we've had.
Brilliant. Well, I've been speaking to a lot of people when I'm out and about, and the amount of people that's coming up to me and saying the podcast is great and all that, and just what I keep telling them is I'm telling you now, please press the subscribe button.
Yeah, please
it's great watching it, but press the subscribe and let's get the numbers up.
Yeah, do that. And as we say every week, it doesn't cost you anything. It costs you nothing. Just hit the subscribe button. And what it does do is it gives you a wee alert when new content comes out. And we're reaching that kind of summer holiday period, so our schedules might be a wee bit kind of disrupted as Frank goes away and suns himself in Millport or wherever he goes. But we'll do our best to keep the content regular and fresh. So hit subscribe, follow us on social media, do all the usual stuff. And today we've got another Scotland international. And really, really delighted to invite David Speedie onto the podcast. David, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Yeah. How you been, Dave? It's been a while. Well, it's been a couple of years since I've seen you now, isn't it?
It's been quite longer than that, I'd say.
So typical. I phoned him last week. I phoned you last week, and where were you?
I was in Spain. I was in Spain, La Manga, on the Footballers Golf Classic.
Yeah, and I don't get an invite.
An annual event. I've been on over 20 now. I think 22.
I think Terry banned me for going. You've never even been. But Mancini said no.
I got a 2-year ban. For kicking Wally Downs off his stool. Because he knocked my sunglasses off my head and he smashed on the floor. So I booted him off his stool. It was quite funny. His stool went clattering across the stage.
Oh, brilliant. So you get a 2-year ban for that? It's not bad.
So
I got a 2-year ban.
Who were the big names? Did you say Kenny Dalglish was there, was he?
Kenny was there. Kenny's always there. Yeah. He's got a place out there in La Manga. So he's out there quite a lot in the summer. Mm-hmm. Still his jovial self.
Oh, yeah, still telling the same gags. I seen him a few weeks ago. Still selling the same gags.
Yeah. And does Kenny still play golf to quite a decent level?
I think he's off about 7 or 8.
Seriously, fantastic. Right.
So he's got at his age, he's in his 70s now, is he?
Yeah, of course he is.
Brilliant. Well, that's really good. And what you were saying, you're playing off, about 11 or 12 at the moment, David, is that right?
12.7 exact.
So that'll be 13 then?
Yes, depending on where you're playing, at the slope.
Of course, I keep trying to explain the new handicap system to Frank, and he refuses to get his head around it. He's like,
Do you know what I hate? I hate somebody says to you, what's your handicap? And you say, I don't know, it depends where I play. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
But that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But if you're playing like Muirfield,
okay.
or the next week you're playing Knightswood in Glasgow.
Right, okay, I'll see if you can understand this, David. I've got my handicap at Dundonald. Right, down at the sea, and it's a great course. And my handicap was 12. And then now I'm playing, and they say, go and see the slope. So if I was to walk over the slope, I'm now off 14 at Dundonald, and I'm saying, no, but my handicap's from here.
That doesn't work like that anymore. You don't have a handicap there. You have what's called a handicap index.
You're handicapped. Anyway, that's it.
Anyway.
That's it. Handicap system is knackered. The handicap system.
I don't know whether it's called England Golf up there, but it's England Golf down here.
It's the Scottish Golf, same idea.
That'd be Scotland Golf up there. So that's who's running the handicap system.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Is it not PGA?
It's Scottish Golf. I'll talk you through it later on when we finish, and I'll show you how it works.
Right, okay. Again.
Anyway, all our football fans who are following the podcast will be riveted with this golf chat, but they've got more.
Yes.
We've had obviously quite a bit of golf chat up until now, but we'll move back on to football. So, you guys played together, yeah?
We did, yes. Scotland and
club level.
And Australia, we played Did we play club level? We never played club level, did we?
We never played at club
No,
level,
not club level.
I know
no.
that you were very briefly at West Ham, though,
Yes.
and round about the mid-90s, which might have been, I think it was just after Frank played there
Aye.
the second time.
When did you go to West Ham?
I was on loan there the last 2 and a bit months of the season.
Yeah. Was it 94, 95, something like that?
No, 93, 94 season, I think.
So you must have been, that
must have been
the
still
season
there
after
then.
you
Was
came back.
I still there, David? I can't remember.
Or even 92, 93 season, it could have been.
I must have been there then, so I don't know. Who was the gaffer? Harry Redknapp.
Harry Redknapp.
Aye,
yeah.
I wasn't there.
We
with
got
Harry.
there in the end.
I wasn't there.
Just looking at your figures, actually, and in fact, for maybe some of the younger viewers and listeners, and I have to keep reminding myself that people are driving to work and listening to this and not watching it. But David, you 14 years of a career, 500 league appearances, over 500 league appearances, nearly 150 goals. I mean, that's a pretty good return. And you played for Chelsea, Coventry, Liverpool, Blackburn. You played 10 times for your country as well. But just looking at some of your goal stats, you always get really good figures. You're regularly in double figures with most of your clubs.
Yeah.
And even at West Ham, you said it was on loan for 11 games, 4 goals. So,
That's not a bad record.
Frank was telling me that you guys played together, I think it was for Scotland in Australia in the World Cup.
The qualifier, wasn't it?
That was the
That was the only
playoff.
game we played. And 0-0.
Yeah.
It was the worst game of football.
Yeah. Oh, it was shocking. Too many flies on the pitch.
Yeah. I know.
We had a swarm of, I don't know what they're called, mosquitoes or whatever it was. They were buzzing around the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
Nothing each. Wasn't a great spectacle, but the outcome took Scotland to Mexico.
Yeah, we qualified through to the playoffs.
That was us going to Mexico.
Aye.
But to be honest, when we got over there, it was all about the result, wasn't it? It wasn't about the game. The manager just says we were 2-0 up, and we just
from the first leg. Yeah.
and I think he just wanted me and David to work our socks off, you know, and hold the ball when we could. That was basically what we did.
Yeah.
I can't remember a lot about that game.
No,
When it comes to your career, I think people probably recognise you as a Chelsea player first and foremost. You had a cracking 3 years or so playing alongside another Scotland international, Pat Nevin, and also Kerry Dixon, and it was kind of goals galore between the three of you, wasn't it? Would you consider that the highlight of your career, possibly that period?
It was a great time. I had 5 years at Chelsea, 1982 to 87, and they changed the management. And I didn't like the new incoming coach, a guy called Ernie Wally, who lived up to his name. He was a dickhead. He sent me off in training once for swearing.
oh,
So I just walked off. They were shouting me, Speedo, Speedo, and I just stuck my finger up and kept going. Went home.
well, I do that with some managers too, but yeah, you were. I remember when I came down, David. You were the ones. You and Kerry Dixon were going toe to toe with myself and Tony Cottee and Kenny and Rushy. That was the three. Obviously, Lineker, kind of Lineker he was at Everton, wasn't he? With Graham Speed. So we'd all double acts.
Yeah.
It was big games and big names, and it was a pleasure to go head to head with you guys. It was lovely because all we kept hearing was Chelsea was the kings of London.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little London thing, wasn't it? There's a league in London with all the teams, and it was great.
What would be your early life for anybody who doesn't know this? Obviously, they listen to your accent. It's a southern accent, but you qualified to play for Scotland. What was the story there?
Well, I was born in Glenrothes, Fife. My dad was a miner and the pit's flooded. So as a family, we had to move down south to England for the pits.
Right.
So I was brought up in Doncaster. So hence the Yorkshire accent.
Sure.
But you can take the man out of Scotland, but you can't take Scotland out the man. So I can still speak the lingo.
Yeah, you can still tell people to F off in Scottish.
Right.
Were you ever down the pitch yourself? Did you work briefly yourself before football? Yeah.
10 months
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
down the... That was terrible.
Oh my God, that's a job and a half, isn't it?
They didn't take me on as an apprentice at Barnsley. So I was down the pit from the age of 16 to 17, and I signed pro at Barnsley when I was 17 because they brought a new regime in, which was Alan Clark and Norman Hunter.
All right.
I blame Norman for all my bookings and sendings off because he was the one that taught me everything I know.
Taught you how to tackle, try and get away with it.
Norman Bite Your Legs Hunter.
Yes.
That's a fascinating, beginning to your working life, though. I don't imagine there's that many footballers who were down the pits for the best part of a year before they started playing the game professionally. I mean, did that kind of teach you quite a bit about life in general? Do you think, working in a job like that?
It's horrendous. Unless you've experienced it, it's the most horrendous job on the planet. You get loaded onto a cage with a little cable that lowers you slowly and then drops you, and then they put the brakes on about 100 yards from the bottom, and it's a mile deep.
Wow.
So not a great job if you're claustrophobic.
Not a great job, period.
But you must have been delighted then when the opportunity came to give that up and then go and play football in the open air. And,
Well, I was signed on with Barnsley from the age of 15, but they didn't give me an apprenticeship. The old regime didn't think that I was big enough. So, anyway, I tried my hardest every training session and every game I played. Mm-hmm. So, and then they couldn't sign me as an apprentice because I'd been earning too much money at the pit. So they had to match my wages and sign me as a pro at 17. So I was never an apprentice.
Right.
I mean, I don't know many. I mean, I had a few jobs before I played, David, but never as tough as that. And I always made my jobs as easy as possible, as you can imagine.
Well, you used to work on the road, so maybe going down a pothole in Glasgow is a bit similar as going down a mine.
That's right.
Maybe not quite as deep, but just about.
Well, I don't know. In Glasgow, there's a few deep ones now, isn't there?
Oh well. Yeah. But anyway, the football career kicked off. Now you get a reputation for being a wee bit fiery. We were discussing that before we started recording. Do you think that's fair?
Self-defence, I call it.
Yeah.
I didn't start it, but I was quite good at finishing
it. Any particularly famous altercations that you remember in your career?
I had an altercation with a guy called Gary Bennett at Sunderland.
Oh, but Gary, yes.
He was coming. I saw him out the corner. Ball had been played down the left wing, and I'm chasing it, and he's coming from centre half, and I can see he's going to try and do me. So I popped him shoulder to shoulder, and he's gone on his arse. Yeah. And he jumped straight back up and grabbed me, dithered onto the AstroTurf, which was on the edge of the pitch, and then into the crowd, was on the sloping hoardings. So this woman hit me over the head with a handbag, Sunderland supporter, obviously, and we both got sent off. And I couldn't believe that I'd been sent off for his aggressive. He's actually, you'll see it on it's on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah,
people have shown it me loads of times, and they say, "Oh, well, you've went to do him." I said, "Well, if I'd gone to do him, I would have done him."
Yeah,
but I didn't. I stayed on my feet and shoulder charged him, and then we both ended up in the bleeding crowd.
God.
And a woman hits you with a handbag?
Somebody hit me with a handbag.
That wouldn't happen nowadays.
You can
Women
sue
tend
her,
to have
David.
handbags.
See if she's got money, sue her.
That was at the old, was it Roker Park?
Roker Park, yeah, I remember. It was some atmosphere there.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great atmosphere.
Did referees kind of pick on you? A lot of players tend to think that they kind of, their disciplinary record was bad, and that's because referees tended to kind of single them out, maybe rather than being justified.
I could tell my teammates whether I was going to get booked or not just by looking at the referee's name.
Yeah.
Some of them have it in for you, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
No matter how trivial something is, you're going to get booked. I knew I was going to get booked or sent off.
Any refs in particular that you think of looking back that had it in for you?
Do you think I can remember any of them referees' names? A whole bunch of dickheads.
Yeah.
They used to be spoiling the game.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they're still spoiling it now, but they've got help with VAR now. So,
well, they're getting a lot of help with VAR. What a fucking disgrace that
I know.
is.
Yeah,
I know.
Who's running? Who can't see whether somebody's offside or not?
I know.
In the space of 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't get it, and I don't know what you think, but for me, my biggest thing with referees now, David, is when you're through and you could be onside or offside, you don't know. They don't put a flag up until the play comes to a stop. Now, if somebody gets hurt, that's when this is all going to change. If somebody gets seriously hurt, because you can run into a goalkeeper. I mean, somebody went into a post a couple of weeks ago, slid into a post, but didn't get hurt. Now, that could have been a serious injury, and I think the clubs are in the right to sue the referees, because just put your flag up. If you're offside, you're offside.
It's not the referee's fault, it's
the people
running the game that want to make it like American football, where they stop the game all the time and you can assess things. Oh, let's have a look at this. It's gone beyond the joke now.
The viewer experience or the supporters' experience, whether that's watching on the telly or in the stadium, you can't really celebrate a goal and relax.
No, I know, it's terrible.
Because it's almost like 50%, probably, I would say probably more than 50% of the goals that you see nowadays are checked.
I know.
But the people running the VAR, why is it taking them so long
of course.
I know.
to come to a decision?
Yeah.
It's either a handball or not. It's either an offside or not. It's either a penalty or not.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, would you be up for, I mean, if they were to get ex-players in? Because I think ex-players know, when they're going to hurt somebody or where they're going to, if it was an accident. And I think there's a big difference. If the intent's there to go and hurt somebody, they should be off.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But I just think the referees have never played the game and they don't know what's an over-the-top ball or a mistake.
That's 100% right. They don't know the difference between a genuine attempt to get the ball and a dirty tackle.
Well, we'd all be in trouble now because it's a follow-through now, isn't it? Apparently the follow-through, that's a foul, so you
can't not follow through. It's just slide tackling.
It's impossible.
We ain't got any brakes on us body to stop you following through. It's the way that you follow through. Yeah. And if them studs are raised, then you're in trouble. Yeah.
Now, before we forget, I think you said in September you're going to have a book coming out.
Yes.
Yes. We've been doing it since last year.
Yeah, and it's called the David Speedie story, yeah?
It is. It's available on Amazon. It'll be in the shops.
All good bookstores.
Pitch Publications, okay.
Pitch Publications are doing it. They like the book. They say it's one of the best that they've had.
Brilliant.
And it'll be in Waterstones across the country.
What's in all, is it?
I'd say there's more not in it than that's in it for legal reasons.
Most books are the same, aren't they?
Because the Paul Hodgson, who wrote the book for me, I dictated to him, recorded stuff and sent it to him, and then he put it into words. But there's not everything in there that I would like to have been in there, but for legal reasons.
Maybe for another time. Maybe if it sells well enough, you can bring it.
and not give a monkeys about.
Yeah, that's exactly.
If you could sum the book up, then as far as the kind of main highlights of it. In fact, let's go through them. Let's look at some of the big moments in your career. You made your Scotland debut against England. Am I correct?
Yeah. Well, my full international debut was at Hampden.
Yeah.
Against England, and we beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
Richard Gough header.
I remember it. I was there. Aye.
But all I can remember about that game is Souness in my ear.
Talking to you or shouting at you.
Fucking screaming.
To be fair to Souness, I mean, I got to stick up. When I made my debut at Hampden, it was incredible for me. It was talking to me. Him and Dalglish. I played with Kenny up front. And Kenny was just talking to me all the way through it, and so was Dalglish, so was Graham. And it was good. I mean, the Scotland team was a good team, David, wasn't it? When Cooper and all them. But we did a decent team.
Yeah.
So it was a joy to be there and wear the blue of Scotland.
Oh, I was proud to play. I mean, it was an honour to play for my country.
Yeah.
But I didn't always enjoy it.
Did you maybe not see eye to eye with the SFA setup and the Scotland management team?
I saw eye to eye with the Scottish management team until one of them died.
Yeah.
And then that was the beginning of the end of my Scotland career.
We're talking about the passing of the late Jock Stein in Wales that night.
Yeah, I was there. I was playing.
What's your recollection of that? I mean, that's just,
Horrendous.
such a horrendous thing for anyone to be part of. Particularly someone of Jock Stein's stature as well. For anyone, it's terrible. But
he was a great man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a great manager, a great man manager.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the saddest days of my footballing career.
Yeah. Can you remember much about how you discovered what had happened after the final whistle?
We all saw it when we were coming down the tunnel.
My God.
They were pumping his chest.
Oh.
It was, yeah.
Horrible.
I get a bit upset thinking about
Yeah.
it.
I can fully imagine. As does anybody who remembered Jock Stein as a manager, both for the club and country, but a tough time for anyone who was on the pitch, and of course we don't have David Cooper either from that night.
Well, he scored the penalty.
Aye.
Yeah.
I got the penalty. Davy Cooper scored it. Now, God bless him, he's no longer with us.
I know.
Well, Ferguson took over.
Yeah.
From Jock.
Yeah.
And Andy Roxburgh
Oh, God, yeah.
came in later than that.
Yeah. So you were going to tell us there that after Sir Alex Ferguson obviously replaced Jock Stein, things didn't go so well for you at international level.
No, he left me out of the squad.
Yeah.
Even though I'd played in all the build-up to the World Cup.
And you didn't go to Mexico?
I couldn't go on holiday with my family because the Scottish FA had my passport. And I didn't get that back until they came back from Mexico, which wasn't very long.
So hang on a minute. How does that work out? Why did they have your passport?
Because they take your passports. They always take your passports.
Was that just in case you were going to be called up, kind of thing?
We had to get visas, yeah. All the players that were more or less in the squad had to give the passport to the Scottish FA so they could get our
visas and all that.
Our visa into Mexico and America.
Uh-huh.
Because I think they originally were going to
Los Angeles. We went and then we went to Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, that's right.
Where did your involvement end, though? Were you part of the squad up until the pre-World Cup tour and so on, the warm-up matches?
Frank will tell you, we played in Australia together.
You didn't go to Mexico?
No, he left me out the squad.
Yeah. So when Frank was talking about, you're talking about Los Angeles when you met Rod Stewart.
He wasn't there.
No, David wasn't there. No. But the SFA had your passport all this time, and you couldn't just go away with your family. They
had it until they got back. I didn't get my passport until nearly the start of pre-season when I was at Chelsea.
Wow.
So, fair to say, fairly bitter memories then of that period.
I wasn't very happy. It's all in the book.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting this book.
I know, it's quite good.
It's on Amazon.
What we're doing here is we're setting these stories up and people can read the full account in the book.
That's incredible,
It's all in there.
Right, a quick word about our brilliant sponsors, Glenwood Debt Recovery. If you run a business, especially in the construction industry, and you're fed up chasing unpaid invoices, these are the people you want on your side. Glenwood are specialists in business-to-business debt recovery. They work properly, professionally, and they've got a long list of very happy clients who've had their money sorted quickly and fairly.
That's right. If you do the work, you deserve to be paid and get paid on time. Simple as that.
So if you want to find out more or you need a wee bit of help with a tricky customer, just head to glenwoodconstruction.co.uk.
And don't forget to tell them Frank sent you.
Liverpool was a big part of your time as well, your career.
Absolutely loved it.
You obviously worked with Kenny Dalglish, John Barnes, Ian Rush, all the big names at the point. Was that a fond memories?
Yeah, until a certain period of time at the end of the season. When after Kenny packed in because of the pressure from the Hillsborough disaster, I made my debut against Man United at Old Trafford on Sunday and scored. We drew 1-1. I scored 2 against Everton the following week. We beat Everton 3-0 or 3-1. I got 2. And then we played Everton again in I think it was a cup game, drew 0-0. Then Kenny packed in. We were playing Luton away, and the bus were picking me up on their way down to Luton, because I lived on the outskirts of Coventry at the time. So the team bus picked me up on the service station on the way down. And that was the beginning of the end of my Liverpool career when Kenny packed in.
And that's that when you learned that he was leaving, when you got on the bus?
Yeah, I didn't know until I got on the bus going to Luton.
Who was it took over for Kenny?
The backroom staff took over. And then Souness took over as manager. Mm-hmm. And I used to change next to Bruce Grobbelaar. And I said, that's the end of me.
Yeah, well, if he was shouting at you during
that's in the book, but I'm not going to go into it.
No,
of
course.
Because otherwise there's no point in buying
the book.
Very
true, very, very true. That's brilliant. Very true. But certainly you'll have fond memories of Kenny.
I haven't got one bad memory of Kenny. On the field or off the field. Mm-hmm. As a human being, 100%. As a footballer, 110%. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. His family, exactly the same. Just a great guy.
Yeah.
And I was golfing with him in Spain last week.
Oh, fantastic.
He's some guy. I mean, he was my idol. I mean, he was my hero. Obviously watching Celtic growing up, David, so...
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, when you're a little boy, you know, almost to this day, I thought my world had ended, standing in the jungle and Kenny had gone, you know. It was... But life moves on, and you get other great players.
He was one of my heroes.
Yeah, I was at West Ham and I was having problems, and I spoke to Kenny, you know, about a wee problem I had, and Kenny being the wind-up merchant he is, he put the team sheet in, and he left Rush out and put me as number 9 for Liverpool.
That's his sense of humour. That's just typical.
My manager knew that I was talking to him.
Where did they leave the team sheet?
I put it in, you know, he put it in the referees, and the referee never even noticed.
Seriously?
We had to change it, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
That's Kenny's sense of humour, isn't
it? That typifies him.
I'm going to tell you a very quick Kenny Dalglish story, right? And I hope he's watching this, because he might remember this. Myself and my brother were taken to a Celtic Morton game when I was maybe about 6 years old. Yeah. And a friend of my parents was a Morton director. So we got into the director's box at Celtic Park. And after the match, we were in the wee kind of the foyer bit, whatever you want to call it, next to the front door. And the players were coming out after obviously getting showered and changed. And the guy I'm talking about had called Kenny over to give us his autograph, you know. And my mum was with us. Uh-huh. So I didn't have a pen, but she had one in the bottom of her handbag. And she got this pen at the bottom of her handbag and gave it to Kenny to sign. And the thing leaked all over his cuff of his shirt. He was wearing this lovely, fancy white shirt, and ink all over his shirt. And he went, "Oh, wee man, look at my shirt." And I was 6. I didn't care. I just wanted the autograph, you know. But and my older brother Johnny was a bit mortified as well. And anyway, I think another pen came along and we got the autograph. It was in a book somewhere. But I always wonder whether he remembers. You're going to remember that, aren't you? You're going to remember a pen leaking all over your shirt.
Nah, probably not.
Of course, he's going to remember it.
It was a big thing for you, but no,
Kenny, if you're watching this, do you remember it? Or any friends of Kenny Dalglish's watching this?
I'll ask him next time.
Knowing Kenny the miserable, so he's probably still got a shot.
Aye, it was one Celtic won, Morton won. I can't remember the year. Roy Baines was in goal for Celtic. I remember that much. The wee things that stick in your mind. But if Kenny remembers that, it'd be interesting. No, anyway, totally diverse, as Ronnie Corbett would say.
It's up beside his European Cup winning jersey. There's this shirt.
The shirt with the ink on the sleeve.
He's got it framed and up on the wall.
I always remember he said that, "Oh, wee man, look at my shirt." I'll never forget that either. And it was that 1970s barnet they had. It was all blown, blow dried, and anyway, there we go. So, like, other highlights of David Speedie's career, which you can't talk about because a book's coming out. But what about winning the FA Cup in 1987?
Well, my first game for Coventry was in the Charity Shield. Yeah. At Wembley against Everton.
Oh, to beat them.
So that was an experience to make your debut for a club at Wembley. Wow. When you'd not done hardly any pre-season training, and it was a bit of a soggy pitch to say the least.
Did you get beat?
Yeah, 1-0. Yeah, I wasn't fit. I shouldn't have been playing in that game really. I'd not done any serious training because it took a while for the deal to go through.
Yeah,
from Chelsea. Bates is a bit awkward.
Oh, do you think? I'm convinced he would get up during the night to argue with himself Just argue with yourself because he's losing a bit of sleep.
Believe it or not, he helped me so much.
Yeah, I heard a lot of players say that.
When I went to Chelsea to reintegrate into North and South, you know what it's like, Frank.
Yes.
And it took me a while to find my feet, and he had his arm around me all the way, Ken Bates.
Brilliant.
You wouldn't think it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He is genuinely a nice guy.
Yeah, I heard that. A lot of players say that about him, but to see him and to hear him, you think, wow.
He doesn't hold back in anything he's going to say. No matter who it is, it comes out, which is a bit like me.
Do you still get to Chelsea much?
I've been down a few times.
Do you get the red carpet treatment when you're there?
They look after us,
Yeah,
they always have done.
Yeah.
The club are fantastic. I don't like a lot of what's going on now, but that's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But fantastic. I was there 5 years. I left with 5 years left on my contract, but I couldn't play for the Ernie Whalley and John Hollins. John Hollins was a great guy. He was a great player, teammate, got the manager's job, brought Ernie Whalley in, not for me.
Yeah.
So Ken Bates decided on keeping them and letting me go to Coventry. I could have gone to Liverpool, but I didn't know about it. Kenny told me when I joined 4 years later. He tried to sign me 3 times.
It's a bit hurtful when that happens, isn't it? When the club don't tell you. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you've got no control over it.
No, you've got nothing, I know.
So you just let it go.
What do Chelsea players of your era think when they look at the whole, post Abramovich revolution and all the money that came into Chelsea and how it was such a completely different club really to what it was when you were there? Do you ever look upon it enviously and say, I'd love to have a bit of that?
I'd love to have played on the pitches that they play on today.
Yeah. Oh.
They play on a bowling green. We played on mud heaps.
I know, it's
after
terrible.
September. I think the players are a bit mollycoddled these days.
Well, I think a lot of players ask me the same questions that Simon's just asked you, and I would always say that the players from our era could play in today's era, but the players from now couldn't play when we played.
No,
they couldn't handle the tackling.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big thing for us.
They couldn't handle the physicality.
No,
they couldn't handle the surfaces.
Yeah, they wouldn't even train on it. Some of the pitches that we played on.
Crazy.
I mean, I just look back, and I know we look back in fondness because I loved it at West Ham going against you guys, you and Kerry. And Kerry became my pal. And I don't know why, but he's having good fun.
He's still at Chelsea.
I know, mate. He's doing all right. As if you see him, Tim, I was asking for him, but he's.
I will.
It's one of them. It's just I loved it because all of a sudden you're coming off the pitch and you're asking, did Speedo or Kenny Dixon score? Because we scored over 50 goals between us, myself and Tony, So these guys were banging the goals in right, left, and centre. So it was a good competition for us.
I'd like to know what Pat Nevin was like as a teammate as well, and whether he was as intelligent as he liked to let on.
Weirdo.
I told him we did a gig down in Esher, me, Kerry, and Pat, and I told he knows I called him a weirdo anyway. Yeah. Who goes to a football match with an overcoat on down to his hands crankles with headphones on and doesn't speak to you till he gets changed on and then you're on the pitch? No animosity about it. It was always just a laugh.
Good fun.
But he used to have a trench coat on and headphones, so he never spoke to anybody.
Maybe one of these guys that kidded on he was reading The Guardian, but buried inside it was a copy of The Sun.
No.
He was making out he was reading The Sun and The Guardian was inside. Because he's one of the most intelligent people that I've known in football.
But we had him on the podcast, David, and he was talking fondly about you and Kerry, so it was a good lad. It was a good episode.
Fun.
It was magic.
Yeah.
Within football, the understanding that me, Pat and Kerry had, well, me and Pat mainly, Kerry just used to knock the ball in the back of the net and we'd do all the hard work.
Yeah.
And,
I was going to say that.
Yeah, it was an amazing 4-year partnership. And sadly, when I left, the following season they got relegated, which is Nigel Spackman left. I left. A few people left that were prominent in that squad, and they struggled the following season and got relegated. But it's great to see the club doing well now. But some of the players aren't lazy.
I know. Well, it's my pet hate, David. It's my pet hate in football. When you lose the ball, first thing I get taught is get it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it back right away and hunt in packs and go and get it back. You don't do it yourself.
When somebody's on the ball, you've got to make a run.
Yeah.
Make yourself available.
Yeah.
I was watching the game last night, and I'm like, nobody wants the ball.
No.
The goalkeeper gets more touches than anybody else.
Yeah.
Says every centre-half.
Centre-half,
more touches.
Yeah, play it across the back, give it back to the keeper.
Yeah.
Kick it out wide, play it across. I'd be up there screaming like a banshee. Get that ball up front. You don't score in your own half.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact one of us would have had the winger. If he goes down the wing and doesn't cross it, I'd have had him with the throw it at half time. There's no way. Get the ball in the box. Don't pull it out to go back. You know, I was talking about a game last week and talked about Celtic and a corner and made a corner and it ended up back at your keeper. And I'm thinking, really? A corner?
That's,
I know, it's a way of football, isn't it?
So before we start thinking about finishing up, obviously you were born in Glenrothes before heading down south as a young boy. Do you have a Scottish team? Is there a team you always keep an eye out for the result?
The Rangers, man.
the teddy bears.
I didn't know that. Is that
Oh,
right?
I did. I was coming up to that end.
Kept that one quiet, Frank, before
at the end. Yeah, you can tell with the shot.
Aye, blue. My father said to me once, because I was complaining about his shenanigans about Rangers and Celtic, and saying, "What? We weren't allowed to wear green." And I said, "What is this all about?" He said, "I'll fucking tell you." I said, "The green, the grass is green, and the sky is blue. You can shite on the grass, but you can't shite in the sky." And I was just, what the?
So what he said to you was, mention Celtic again and you're going down the pits.
You go back down, yeah. Was there not a chance that you could have ended up there? Was there not? Did I know he'd read something that it was very close? There
was rumblings that I think Celtic were trying to buy him.
But then the other one put their noses in, didn't they? And I heard that it was Rangers were quite... Well, I can't remember when it was, but I remember that at some point they were quite interested in you.
I'd heard through the grapevine that there's Rangers and Celtic were both interested in.
Would you have happily gone to Celtic despite what your old man might have said?
No.
Well, there you go.
Right,
so all the Rangers supporting followers in the podcast.
I just wouldn't have gone to Scotland. It's too far fucking going all the way back up there.
Yeah. So it's nothing to do with the Celtic and Rangers thing. It's just you wouldn't have went to Scotland.
Most of the families up there, cousins and relatives, aunties and all that.
So that's a good excuse to stay down south then.
Before we finish up, what are you up to these days? Did you ever fancy coaching yourself?
Not really. No. It wasn't my cup of tea. I did my coaching badge, and when I was doing it when I was at Coventry actually, and this guy who was doing the coaching badge, we would kick it with the outside of the right foot, kick it with the inside of the right foot, then kick it with the outside of the left foot. And it was pissing down my rain. I says, "Hold on a minute." I said, "Who did you play for?" He says, "Oh, I never played professional football." I says, "And you're fucking trying to tell me I had to kick the ball with my right foot and my left foot?" I said, "Is this the coaching badge?" I went, "I'm off." And John Sillick was hanging out the window laughing his head off because he knew I wouldn't last the session.
No.
So I started to do my coaching badge. Lasted about an hour.
Well, I'd done the first badge, but I was the same. I couldn't. The problem I had was people can't do what you can do. Exactly. You know, just a simple pass.
And they're trying to tell you how to do it.
Yeah. I know.
Did you ever have a night out with Frank McAvennie?
Several.
Yeah. What's your fondest memories? And I know this won't be in your book, so come on, you can tell us.
can't remember any specific name, but we always had a good drink.
Did you ever witness Frank misbehaving on a night out?
No. He was always impeccable.
I was always impeccable form, wasn't I? Especially in Trinidad and Tobago. That was a good trip for me.
Christ, yeah, I remember that.
What was that for?
That was just, we all went over to play football, didn't we?
That was football and a golf day as well.
Yeah, it was bedlam. It was good fun.
He was down there on that trip, him off the chase. Bradley Walsh.
Oh, Bradley was he there, was he?
Remember, yeah?
Yeah.
I saw him in Portugal last year and I said, remember me? And he went, yes, Trinidad and Tobago. I said, how do you remember that?
It was like 80 odd players there, ex-players there, weren't there? There was a lot of players.
Yeah, there's a few non-players as well.
Yeah. It was good fun.
But did you not cut your hand there?
Yeah. Sort of a punched the glass. Yeah, glass door.
Oh, what happened, Frank?
I know, I can't tell you. I was in my next.
Don't tell you. Have you got a book about it as well?
I've not put that in the book.
Right,
That's one of the things.
Thanks for keeping that
put in
quiet.
the book for legal reasons, in case of any comeback.
Right, I'll find out.
He cut his hand anyway.
Yeah.
Aye.
And I was a fucking nurse for about 3 days.
Seriously? Right.
Yeah. Changing his dressing.
Thank you very much for that.
Are you not going to tell us what happened, though?
No.
I'll tell you after this.
I'll tell you after.
Okay. Right, listen, what I'll do is Frank will tell me what happened, and then once he goes on holiday, I'll do a wee special episode just myself.
So just let's say there was a lady involved.
But it was, yes, can't wait. Frank was in an episode of The Chase as well. Mm-hmm. Remember chasing that girl around the nightclub trying to get a number?
Yeah. I didn't do a lot of chasing.
Oh, well, right. Listen, time was caught up with us.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Just in case you didn't pick it up during the podcast, David's got a book coming out in September. It's called The David Speedie Story, and you all the blanks that we've got in this episode will be filled into that book. I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to it. Actually.
I'll be getting a signed copy off you, David. Thanks very much.
And to all my journalist mates, this is definitely one worth
on Amazon.
Getting. It's on Amazon. All my journalist pals, that's one worth getting your hands on so you can rip it off and serialise it in your papers. But
well, I've not read the final thing because I don't know what they've taken out and what they've left in. But so it'll be interesting for me as well to actually read the final thing.
Right.
But there's some good stories in there.
And it's called The David Speedie Story.
And it'll be good because you're a wonderful character, Dave. Not got a lot of them now going about, but you were certainly one. So thank you very much, mate.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. It really has, and thanks for being so honest with us as well. And I know, as I said, you get quite affected talking about the late great Jock Stein as well. So we appreciate you reliving that for us. So thanks again for your time.
If you're ever up in Glasgow, give us a shout, pal.
I will do, buddy. I've got your number now.
All right, buddy.
You'll not get rid of me.
Nah, we'll get a game of golf, and if I'm down south, we'll get a game. Sometimes I get down there.
Yeah, no problem. Ring me
buddy.
Well, thanks again, David. That was brilliant. Really appreciate you joining us on the podcast, and thanks to everyone again for watching and listening. And Frank and myself will be back soon with another episode of Let Me Be Frank. So we'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye bye.